The privacy aspect, though, is one that is very fascinating. And I find that, especially here in the US, I have to explain that a lot more. I can get the interest of people, but I have to explain why that's so important. So I'd love to hear from you that privacy aspect. PiwikPro was designed ground up with that privacy, and why is that so important? I'd love to hear that from your story.
Yep, we started to notice that even before major legislations impacted the landscape, I mean GDPR in Europe, even before that, there were some companies that were not so much limited by public regulations, but they were limited by internal regulations. Their internal security departments, privacy departments that existed. It was a novelty of a sort. Now it's more part of a mainstream, but it used to be a novelty. So these companies had these regulations. They anticipated that this is a risk, both PR risk and also existential risk for some companies that are very sensitive data. So if you would like to discuss the privacy aspect with anybody, we start with the healthcare industry and these companies, because HIPAA is now a huge factor. Even in our growth dynamics, we see a lot of companies from the United States from the sector, and it's a huge sector. Discuss it in terms of value, healthcare to the GDP of Germany. So it's quite a bit of potential, and this industry, this vertical in the United States was disrupted, and the HIPAA interpretation that was published, I think, early 2023 or late 2022, depending which data source you consider to be the main one. But throughout 2023, we've observed like a huge inflow of leads from the healthcare industry, and this is a proof that this sort of decisions from the public sector, which I consider good decisions, not only because it impacts our business in a positive way, but it impacts the civility of data processing, the general approach and respect to people freedom, and because that's actually happening today, because most of these things you are not aware of, and there are these social experiments where people are faced with some experts from the internet that show them what they can tell them about their private lives based on the data that is collected online, and they are terrified all of a sudden. And I think this level of awareness is necessary, even if general public does not consider it important, because it is disrupting, right? All these pop-ups, consents, the ads are less specific. You are targeted with things that you are not really interested in. So it makes all the experience a necessity, because we cannot deal with individuals' data like it's a Wild West. I think we are more civilized than that at this point.